She has gone all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court to stop a question about citizenship from being added to the census and successfully protecting eligible undocumented immigrants who came to the United States from deportation, better known as DACA, the Deferred Action Against Childhood Arrivals. This is a snapshot of who she is and what she does. She's a bad, bad sister. Her credentials say, if you don't want none, then don't bring none. She follows the tradition of Howard University School of Law, Dean Charles Hamilton Houston, the mentor of Thurgood Marshall, founder and director of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and the first Black American on the U.S. Supreme Court. Houston said, a lawyer is either a social engineer or a parasite on society. Tonight, we honor and welcome a social engineer. She is engineering justice. She is creating a place and a space for the rejected and the neglected. She speaks truth to power. She don't back down. She won't turn around. She has the courage of Harriet, the truth of Sojourner, the spirit of Barbara Jordan, the savvy of Ketanji. She won't let no president try to bully or deflect her. But just like Aretha, all she wants is some R-E-S-P-E-C-T, saying, you're going to find out what it means to me. Just a little respect. My brothers and my sisters, the recipient of the Ida B. Wells Freedom and Justice Award, New York Attorney General Letitia Ann Tish James. Let's welcome her.
Love you. Hey, Dana. Amazing, 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 amazing. Hey, Detroit. I think it's time to pass the basket after that introduction. My heart is full. My heart is grateful. Before I begin, I think it's really critically important that I say tonight that political violence has no place in society. No, I don't think you heard me. Political violence has no place in society. You see, my life has been threatened many a times, but no weapon formed against me shall prosper. You see, I got a wedge of protection around me. And so I want to thank God that the President of the United States and his First Lady and all of the public figures and attendees of last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner, they were not harmed. But I would be remiss if I did not continue to yearn and pray for a compassionate, a civil, a competent, and an inclusive government in Washington, D.C. So yeah, I bring you greetings from the Republic of Brooklyn. And it's great to be in Detroit. And my thanks for that kind introduction. And it means the world to me to be on the same stage as my brother from Brooklyn, the next speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. And to be on the stage with sheroes like Ruby Bridges and all of the honorees. And to be in a room with my sister, your amazing Attorney General Dana Nessel. My deepest gratitude to Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony and his beautiful bride for your more than 30 years of strength and clarity, and to everyone with the NAACP Detroit branch. I also stand at this podium. I could not stand at this podium without mentioning the late, great Hazel Dukes, who I affectionately refer to in all of us as Mama Dukes. I was lucky enough to see her and call her a friend and a mentor, and to see her firsthand, her unwavering commitment to NAACP's fight for equality and justice. Put simply, there would be no State Attorney General Letitia James without champions like hers and organizations like this NAACP. I am because she lived. For more than a century, the courageous leadership of this organization and its relentless pursuit of justice has paved the way for generations to follow, an impact so profound that it shaped the contours of the nation, opening doors for individuals like me to expanding the table of power. From pain to progress, the NAACP has shaped our path. And when I was sworn in as the Attorney General, my mentor, the late Assembly member Al Vann, told me that the most important lesson to remember was the people who put you in a place of power. He was New York's chairman for Jesse Jackson and his campaign for president. He trained me on community empowerment and institutional building and the importance of supporting the NAACP. It is that people-powered view that has shaped my career. He believed that power came from the ground up and not the top down. Power that is earned out of struggle and sacrifice. It is for that reason that we cannot allow ourselves to be beaten down by the challenges that we currently face. We cannot turn away from the most insidious assault on our rights, the chilling of civil engagement, the dismantling of our democratic norms, the moral collapse, the legal stain, the tension, the hate, the violence, the shredding of the ties that bind us all. So it means more than I can express to receive this award, this Ida B. Wells Freedom and Justice Award. I share this award with my fellow AG from Michigan, AG Dana Nessel, who recently denied the Department of Justice's request for ballot information, calling it an attempt to interfere in state elections and an attempt to sabotage Michigan's democratic process. This award's namesake once said, "The way to right wrongs is to light the truth upon them, to shine light in the darkness." A.G. Nessel is the holder of that light of liberty in Michigan, just as our ancestors grabbed the torch of freedom and used it to light the way forward for all of us. I was recently in Selma, Alabama, taking part in that sacred pilgrimage to honor the brave Americans whose protests sparked the passage of the Voting Rights Act. They were weary and thirsty, not from their walk, but from their journey for freedom. They were bloodied and bruised. They were arrested and jailed, but they did not back down. At the bus stops, at the ballot boxes, at the lunch counters, and in the halls of power, they were unapologetic. They were fearless, not fearful. But the threat of suppression and intimidation is laid bare in their plans. But we will not normalize these days and times. We will not accept things as they are. We will reject the tightness of their grip, and we will not sit idly by and allow the destruction of our democracy and the diminution of our Constitution. We will not allow the erasure of our history and everything we've marched and bled and died for. They will not snatch the power from people and place it in the hands of the rich and the well-connected. Our God gives us the strength when the present looks hopeless. I and other AGs will stand as jealous guardians of your rights against any encroachment from the federal government, uncompromising, resilient, meeting the moment, refusing to allow them to hide their wrongdoing in the dark, defending democracy, pushing back against all of the attacks on voting rights, economic opportunity, and the attacks on immigrants. In short, I will do whatever is necessary to ensure that our system reflects Americans' ideals for all of its citizens. Like the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, we have built a national coalition spanning dozens of states to make one thing clear in courtrooms. You cannot bulldoze our rights, the Constitution. You cannot hijack our democracy. From the days of this administration, we have gone to court and we have won 80% of the time. Freedom is indivisible. Thurgood Marshall and the Legal Defense Fund showed the world what it looks like when people commit to defending it everywhere at once. And that is what this generation of attorneys general are doing, defending the Constitution so that the rights written into the document belong to every American, regardless of who is in the White House. We are on the front lines. We have sworn an oath to protect and defend it, and I will always do my part to make sure that that oath is kept. If a 6-year Ruby Bridges can find the courage to walk through an angry, screaming mob just to get to school, so can we. If Constance Motley Baker can find the courage to confront the segregationist judges and lawyers during her career, so can we. If 125,000 people in Detroit can find the courage to go down Woodward Avenue and walk for freedom, all of us can do the same. And if 8 million people can march against a wannabe king, then all of us, standing in arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, then all of us can join with them. And so the choice before us is the same that any generation has faced: liberty or oppression. We will not backslide. NAACP, I see in all of your faces that you've already made your choice. We have been here before, and we're not going back. We will not be intimidated. We will not be disparaged. Our walk from freedom continues. And on that day in November, after we vote, we will all be proud when we can call him the next speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. When we exercise our political muscle, the message will be clear. You can't beat a people who refuse to give up, and we refuse to give up. God bless you and thank you.
I'm like, they blocking my view. Ladies and gentlemen, New York is in the building tonight, Brooklyn specifically, and now joining us on the blue head table, our president, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, and House Democratic leader, the Honorable Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. It is now time to get ready for remarks from our chairs. First, joining us at the podium will be Mr. Gary Torgo. He serves as chairman of Huntington Bank. Please give your attention to the blue dais.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 71 years, and 34 of those years was Wendell Anthony's leadership. Let's hear a big round of applause for Reverend Anthony. On behalf of our CEO, Steve Steinauer, and our regional president, Mike Land, I congratulate the NAACP on 71 years of history, leadership, and impact. Our heartfelt gratitude to your outstanding executive director, Camelia Landrum. Let's hear it for Camelia. Her incredible dedication and leadership year after year keep the fight for freedom alive and moving forward. I have had the privilege for the past 8 years to serve as the chair, and tonight I am honored to serve alongside Brittany Lavis and Dennis Archer Jr. Let's hear it for Brittany and Dennis. Thank you both. We are so honored and privileged to have with us tonight the Democratic leader of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, one of America's greatest leaders. Hakeem Jeffries. Thank you to our honorees, Ruby Bridges, the Honorable Letitia James, Kristen Clark, Reverend Presley, and Dwan Dandridge. Tonight's dinner theme reminds us to recognize that the choice between liberty and oppression is not theoretical. It is real, and we must recognize it every day. Let me conclude with my heartfelt gratitude to my friend and brother, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, and his wonderful First Lady, Monica, Lady Monica. Let's hear it for Lady Monica. You have provided steadfast leadership to help make our beloved city of Detroit a more equitable, hopeful, and welcoming place. On behalf of Huntington Bank, and with gratitude to all of you, have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much.
We gather in the lone shadow of America's history, where courage has always lived, where equality stands and has carved out its places, where freedom rings in every community, where liberty is not an abstract idea, but lives, breathes in the places where care is given, and rises based on the choices we make. At the Detroit Medical Center, we choose to believe that care gives life to liberty. We give life to it in every room and our action and moment of care. And it is a human promise, not a privilege reserved for a few. That is why across our health network, we continue to make investments that directly touch lives. From state-of-the-art MRI technology across our network of care, to modern delivery rooms at the historic DMC Hutzel Women's Hospital and life-saving cardiac catheterization labs at DMC Sinai Grace, bringing advanced care close to home. These improvements are more than renovations. They are declarations that every patient and every community deserves excellence. At DMC, we choose to give life to liberty. Liberty through access, liberty through quality, liberty through care that honors the humanity in all of us. Because when quality health care is available, when it is compassionate, when it is personal, it is the best reflection of America. That is health care that is better together.
Good evening to all the honored guests, distinguished dignitaries, elected officials, esteemed awardees, and members of our community. On behalf of the Detroit Medical Center, it is truly an honor to extend our heartfelt congratulations to the NAACP Detroit branch on the 71st Annual Fight for Freedom Fund dinner. For more than 7 decades, this powerful symbol of courage, advocacy, and an unwavering commitment to justice. It is a tradition rooted not only in history, but in the fight for equality. This year's theme, Liberty or Oppression, the choice is ours, is both powerful and urgent. It challenges each of us to reflect not only on where we've been, but on the responsibility that we carry right now. Because progress is not guaranteed, it is chosen, it is fought for, and it is sustained by organizations like the NAACP, whose leadership continues to. We gather tonight and to ring through every neighborhood and generation in the city. And through it all, the NAACP has remained on the front lines, protecting civil rights, challenging injustice, and ensuring that every voice is heard, valued, and respected. Your work is not only historic, it is urgent, it is necessary, and it is making a difference every single day. At the Detroit Medical Center, we are proud to stand with you, not just as allies, but as committed partners in this ongoing fight, because we understand that the fight for freedom is deeply connected to the fight for health equity. Liberty is not an abstract idea. It lives in the body, it breathes in the spaces where care is given, and it rises or falls based on the choices we make. At DMC, we choose liberty through access, liberty through quality, liberty through care that honors the humanity in us all. Because when health care is accessible, compassionate, and personal, it becomes one of the truest reflections of both our nation and our shared humanity. It ensures that every individual, regardless of background or circumstance, has the opportunity to live a healthy, full, and dignified life. That is why we remain committed to being a trusted partner in this work. We will continue to stand alongside the NAACP and the communities we serve, supporting the mission, advancing equity, and helping to build a future where justice is not just an aspiration, but a reality. Tonight, we celebrate your legacy, your impact, and most importantly, we reaffirm our commitment to stay in the fight with you. Congratulations again on 71 remarkable years of advocacy, impact, and unwavering commitment to freedom. And now, please turn your attention to the monitors for a message from our community co-chair, Mr. Dennis Archer, Jr.
He's seen the world, but when you ask Dennis Archer Jr. where home is, the answer has never changed. Detroit. The city that raised him, the city that shaped him, the city he pours himself back into every single day. As chairman and CEO of 1642 Ventures, Dennis has built a portfolio that reflects exactly who he is. Archer Corporate Services, bringing jobs and major contracts home to Detroit. Ignition Media Group, connecting brands to culture and culture to community. Central Kitchen and Bar, a gathering place at the heart of the city he loves. His mission is simple. Make sure the people who built this city get to share in what it's becoming. He backs the leaders who get it. He builds the tables, then pulls up more chairs. Doing well while doing good. That's not a slogan. That's Dennis Archer Jr.
I'm going to say it one more time. Detroit, what up, though? I want to thank the branch, Reverend Anthony Camellia, for having me here. I've mentioned multiple times throughout this process that when I accepted to be the community co-chair, I told Reverend Anthony I wanted the theme of my participation to be around economic equality and opportunity. And some of those pillars, I'm going to give you 4. One, obviously, is the access to capital. It's one of our biggest barriers. There's a systemic gap in lending, venture funding, and investment disproportionately affecting Black people and Black entrepreneurs. Equitable access to funding must be a priority, not an afterthought. Second, entrepreneurship is economic justice. Business ownership is a pathway to closing the racial wealth gap, creating jobs, and building generational stability in Detroit's communities. It is important to note that leveling the playing field does not mean lowering standards. We need fair access to contracts, networks, mentorship, and markets. There is power in the local ecosystem. We must support our Detroit-based entrepreneurs through community partnerships, anchor institutions, and intentional procurement practices. And lastly, commitments must be accompanied by accountability. Corporations, policymakers, and community leaders must move beyond statements and measure real progress in supplier diversity, investment, and opportunity creation. Thank you again. I appreciate being here.
Ready to the checker flag, ready through the red light, 12 can't be good.
Hey, there we go. Thank you all so much for being here tonight, for the work that you do to support the NAACP Detroit branch and what it means to this city. Tonight, we gather not out of routine, but out of responsibility. You didn't come here by accident. You came because you understand that the fight for freedom is not behind us, but it is unfolding. And your presence in this room sends a very clear and undeniable message. The movement is alive, the mission is urgent, and we are not backing down. This evening, we honor an extraordinary group of leaders, and I also have to shout out our 2016 Great Expectations awardee, the Honorable Mayor Mary Sheffield. Not only does your star keep rising, but you make sure it shines on all those around you. To Dewan and Quantez, in the spirit of one of the most prophetic voices in the hip-hop generation, all eyes are on you because you refuse to accept that just the way it is ain't the way things always gotta be. To Kristen and Letitia, you stand on the front lines of democracy itself. In moments when the Constitution is tested and civil rights are challenged, you do not waver. You stand, you fight, and because of that, this nation is stronger. And to our Lifetime Achievement Awardee, the Ruby Bridges, there are moments in history that define generations. And then there are individuals who redefine what courage looks like. Welcome to Detroit as we honor you tonight. Our theme, liberty or oppression, the choice is ours. It's not just a theme, it's a call to action. A call to action the NAACP Detroit branch has been answering since our founding in 1912. Please turn your attention to the screens as we take a look back on just the last 365 days.
Standing strong in the face of adversity, the NAACP Detroit branch continues to be a branch in action, serving with purpose and determination. We remain rooted in fighting for civil rights and social justice. Our work never ends. It's why we remain a trusted voice in the community. 2025 served as a reminder to not take our foot off the gas and remain as the largest and most influential branch of the nation. Community engagement, signature programs, and one-of-a-kind events highlights our year. We uplifted and honored Malcolm X's 100th birthday and stood in remembrance of the life of George Floyd. We collaborated with the Dayton NAACP to bring the Everyday People art exhibit to Detroit that showcased work from over 40 artists from the African diaspora. Our branch is in action because our members are in action. We hosted our inaugural Membership in Action Week, focused on people, policy, and power. We hosted programming and events centered around demystifying home ownership, getting your relationship right with your finances, and our annual Career Day and Youth Summit, and our education symposium that advocated for defending public education. As always, our cornerstone campaign, Take Your Souls to the Polls, was front and center during the crucial election cycle for the city of Detroit. We energized voters by phone and text banking, engaging young adults with votes and vibes, continued our jail voter registration project, and partnered with Oakland County Jack and Jill to host a discussion focused on building youth political awareness. At the NAACP Detroit branch, we will never stop uplifting our youth and being committed to opportunities for youth advancement. Our arts and essay contest celebrated its 35th year, connecting young people to the civil rights movement by displaying what the civil rights struggle means to me. 18 winners were recognized for their brilliance showcased in either an art or essay form. We shine yet again on the national stage during the NAACP AXO competition, bringing home 2 gold medals, with one of them being our very first ever medal in culinary. Our AXO program thrives because of our successful Come to Tea golf outing and benefit, which celebrated its 28th year. Our Bridges Summer Youth Employment Program hired 11 youth and young adults and provided them not only with an employment opportunity, but also with life skills development. We distributed over 500 backpacks filled with supplies to make sure students start the school year off right. Our annual Back to School, Stay in School Family Fun Day is our largest free community event. We are not only a branch in action, but a community in action. We partnered with the Wayne County Community College District and served as a sponsor for the Detroit Urban Serum, focused on youth mental health, substance abuse, and rebuilding communities. We also hosted our own Mental Health Awareness Day that provided resources and focused on helping the caregiver. Our George W. Crockett Jr. Community Law School, our continued efforts in providing successful expungement, our monthly free Ask the Lawyer program, and our partnership with the Michigan Department of Corrections to help returning citizens gain meaningful employment. Shop Detroit helps stimulate dollars in the community by encouraging holiday shoppers to spend and support business located in the city of Detroit's 7 districts. No other branch remains in action like us. 2025 was yet another banner year. We hope that you will continue to stay with us as we stay positioned at the forefront of civil rights and social justice. We will remain the biggest, the baddest, and the boldest branch of the NAACP.
Let's give a round of applause to the Executive Committee, the Freedom Fund Dinner Committee, our chairs, members, volunteers, and young people that make all of that work happen. One person cannot do this alone. It takes each and every one of us to put our hands in the game and play to win. I want to give a very special thank you to the staff, our superstar volunteers, my family, my sister, my mother, the man that I love. We know that you support me through this journey, and I am thankful. To our chairs, Gary Torgo, Brittany Lavis, and Dennis Archer Jr., thank you for making tonight a major part of why we are here. This city is blessed to have your innovative and socially conscious leaders like you. And to our W.E.B. Du Bois sponsors, you all have stood by our side through every attack that has come our way. Through federal cuts and smaller budgets, you still found a way to keep the NAACP a priority. Audience, please turn your attention to the screens as we honor their names and honor the commitment to social justice. It is time to thank our sponsors.
71st Annual Fight for Freedom Fund Dinner, W.E.B. Du Bois sponsors. Our platinum sponsors, Arn and Nancy Tellum and the Detroit Pistons. Bedrock, the Ambassador Bridge Company, the Kresge Foundation, UAW International. Our gold sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, DTE Foundation, Fifth Third Bank, Illich Companies, Team Wellness, WK Kellogg Foundation. Our silver sponsors, Ford Motor Company, General Motors, Hollywood Casino at Greektown, JP Morgan Chase, MGM Grand Detroit, the Piston Group. Our bronze sponsors, Central Michigan University, Comerica Bank, Image Fibroid Center, First Independence Bank, GAA Manufacturing and Supply Chain Management, Henry Ford Health, IBEW Local 58, Liuna Local 1191, Michigan Department of Transportation, Michigan State University, Unite Here Local 24, Wayne County Community College District, registration area sponsor, Here Auto. Thank you for your continued support of the NAACP Detroit branch.
At Ford Philanthropy, we work side by side with communities, putting our global weight behind local solutions. Fueling the important work already being done. We start by going straight to the folks on the ground, the local leaders, the grassroots groups, the people who know best how to help those around them, meeting communities where they are, then partnering together to create sustainable change, real change, The kind that actually makes a difference in people's lives. Putting food on families' tables. Opening up access to education and training. Reaching communities directly with mobile health care. And helping rebuild neighborhoods when disasters strike. Making good on our word to move people forward and upward for more than 75 years. Because we don't just think it's possible to build a better world. We know it is. It's already happening. All around the globe, every day. We'll keep building it together, side by side.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Harani, Director at Team Wellness Center. It is truly an honor to be here for the 71st Annual Fight for Freedom Fund Dinner. This year's theme, Liberty or Oppression, the choice is ours, reminds us that progress does not happen on its own. It takes consistency, commitment, and a shared responsibility to one another. Before anything, I want to recognize Dr. Reverend Wendell Anthony for his more than 30 years of dedicated leadership. His work alongside the NAACP has helped protect and uplift individuals and families who may not always have a voice to advocate for themselves. That kind of legacy matters. At Team Wellness Center, we see every day how important it is to provide access to care, support, and opportunity, especially for those facing mental health challenges and working to rebuild their lives. We are proud to be here tonight as sponsors and even more proud to stand as partners in strengthening our communities. Because when we invest in people, when we expand access, and when we create real opportunity, we don't just talk about progress, we help make it real. Thank you.
The labor movement and the civil rights movement are inextricably intertwined. The UAW has and always will stand with the civil rights movement. As one movement goes, so goes the other. In the labor movement, we hold one value, solidarity. Solidarity means my fight is your fight. It means an injury to one is an injury to all. In good times, we rise together, and in bad times, we stick together. There have been bad times for the labor movement and for the workers in this country. The past 40 years have been very hard. We've seen union membership fall, and with it, we've seen inequality rise. It's no accident that as our unions have gotten weaker, we've seen attacks on civil rights increase. We know our strength is in our unity. So let's unite the labor movement and the civil rights movement. Let's unite all people, regardless of color, creed, or sexual orientation. Let's unite in a common cause for justice on and off the job.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the blue dais, now let me say something to y'all. This is a civil rights dinner occasion. I know you want to see each other and talk to each other, but we're going to have some discussion that you need to hear. And I want you to work with me. I see a lot of folk talking and walking, and that's fine. But give us a few civil rights minutes, and you can continue on with that. At the blue dais, we have a lot of folk who have something to say. They're not going to say it long. And I'm going to ask our dais guests and all those speaking to remember the integrity of time, because we want to give our keynote speaker the time to say what he has come here to say. So y'all work with me. If your neighbor is talking, tell him not now. And I know a lot of y'all standing up talking. So if your neighbor is talking, tell him not now. Because I want to introduce our mayor. We have a new mayor in the city of Detroit, in case you did not know. We thank the previous mayor, Mike Duggan, but we also are welcoming now the new mayor. Brothers and sisters, we are troubled on every side, yet we are not depressed. We are perplexed, but we are not in despair. We are persecuted, but we are not forsaken. Cast down, but we are not destroyed. We face the difficulties of the day, but the NAACP of Detroit and its friends and partners continue to push forward, standing firm in the belief and in the knowledge that our struggle is not in vain. Like those who came before us, when voting was totally illegal, when civil rights reviewed as no more than civil wrongs, when they hung us from trees, now they string us up with thieves, using the Klan throughout the land. Now they use ICE, but it's the same plan to intimidate, denigrate, and try to eliminate the ability and the will of the people to stand up for their freedom and to preserve the rights and to keep them from attacking the historic contributions of African Americans to this nation. By whitewashing our stories and disappearing special memories, we are not forsaken. If we were forsaken, we could not stand before you and welcome this new young mayor. If we were forsaken, she would never have become the youngest president of the Detroit City Council. We are not forsaken because she comes from a civil rights family. Her grandfather, Horace Sheffield, her father, Horace Sheffield III. She comes from a fighting family, and she's here to fight for the city of Detroit. And she ain't scared. She steps up, she speaks out, and she lets everybody know there's a new mayor in town. There's a new sheriff in town. Let's welcome our new mayor, the Honorable Mary Sheffield, Mayor of the City of Detroit.
Thank you. Good evening, Detroit. It is such an honor to be with you all this evening as the first female mayor of the great city of Detroit in 324 years. Thank you all for your support. To President Reverend Wendell Anthony and Executive Director Camilla Landrum and the entire Detroit branch NAACP. Thank you for the opportunity to bring greetings for the 71st annual Fight for Freedom Fund dinner. It is my honor to share the stage with tonight's sponsors, awardees, fellow leaders, and tonight's keynote speaker, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, who always speaks truth to power. This year's theme, liberty or oppression, the choice is ours, speaks directly to the moment that we are in. Across our nation and here in Detroit, too many families are still fighting for what should be fundamental human rights: safe, affordable housing, accessible health care, and economic stability. Instead of these basic needs being met, prices continue to rise, while wages remain stagnant and the wealth gap widens. Our civil liberties are being eroded, and our sacred right to vote is under attack, leaving our democracy at risk. But if history has taught us anything, it is this: when we organize, when we mobilize, and when we stand together and fight back, we can accomplish anything. And so we must move forward together. The time is now for us to choose liberty, not just with our words, but with our action. As a daughter and a granddaughter of civil rights and labor activists, I grew up understanding that justice isn't just handed down from above, but it is demanded from below. And for generations, the NAACP has helped lead that charge, equipping our communities with the tools to advocate, to organize, and to turn moments into movements. And that leadership is just as critical today. In a time when division can feel louder than unity, and when trust in institutions is being tested, organizations like the NAACP remain essential. They remind us to stay focused, to stay engaged, and to stay committed to the principles that strengthen our democracy: fairness, accountability, and equal justice under the law. Because when we lose sight of those values, we risk losing the very foundation that holds our communities and our country together. So let us leave here tonight, Detroit, not just inspired, but committed to the work, to help each other, to build each other, to fight for one another, and to continue the mission of the branch of the Detroit NAACP. Enjoy the evening, and God bless you all.
Appreciate it. I think you all have heard of a woman by the name of Big Gretch. She happens to be the governor of the state of Michigan. She's earned that name by the work that she's done over the years, concluding a successful tenure as governor of the state this year. You know that she even signed bills into law right here at this podium. Executive orders were signed by her pen here at the NAACP. We have not forgotten that. We appreciate her. We thank her for her service. This is not an ending, but a new beginning. And she's been with us over the years. And so we're glad that Big Gretch is coming by one more time for us to stretch it out, to continue to fight, and to stay on the case. Let's welcome our governor for the state of Michigan, the Honorable Gretchen Whitmer.
All right, Detroit. I am thrilled to be here with all of you for the 71st NAACP Freedom Fund Dinner. As a proud lifetime member of the NAACP, I love this dinner and I look forward to it every year. I want to thank my good friend, Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony, and Senior Corporate Chair Gary Torgo, Chairman Archer, for all of your hard work. I also want to acknowledge the U.S. House Democratic Leader, the next Speaker of the U.S. House, Hakeem Jeffries. Executive Director Camelia Landrum, and everyone who made tonight's dinner a reality. There's a lot of work that goes into this event and a lot of people whose names never get said, but they worked hard and we thank them. You know, Michigan's story these last 8 years is about progress. After the Great Recession, the Flint water crisis, and decades of disinvestment in roads, schools, healthcare, Michiganders demanded change. In 2018, I ran for governor to fix the damn roads, to restore trust, to rebuild Michigan. And since I took the oath of office on that cold day in January 2019, that's exactly what we've done. We ended the retirement tax on our seniors. We cut taxes on Social Security, overtime, and tips. We set up RX Kids and Healthy Moms, Healthy Babies, so every Michigander can get food, housing, and health care. We built more homes, replaced more lead pipes, and fixed more roads than any other administration in history. We created tens of thousands of good-paying union auto jobs so that more Detroiters and Michiganders can support their families. We helped every young person succeed through free pre-K for all. We leveled the funding gap in our schools. And now we feed 1.4 million Michigan kids with breakfast and lunch every day in school. Every person can go to community college if they want to. We ended natural hair discrimination. We removed dated language from our state laws, and we celebrated Black baseball players. And we made Michigan government look like and reflect the population it serves. But all this progress is precarious, and that's why voting is so important. It's why the folks in D.C., not Hakeem Jeffries, but the other folks in D.C. are trying harder and harder to take away our votes. In 2021, I stood on this very stage and vetoed bills that would have done just that here in Michigan. But the attacks on our voting rights have never stopped. They've made repeated threats to take over our elections. They don't want Detroit to have a voice. They can't defend their record of failure, so they want to rig the game to win. But not on my watch, not on your watch, not on our watch. Now, I know it's hard to feel energetic right now, but nothing changes if we take a back seat. So while I know times are tough, I want to encourage you to wake up every day and keep trying to do the work that makes people's lives better. That's what keeps me in the game and focused on our future. Vote, stay engaged, not just this year, but every year. Not just today, but every day. The choice between liberty and oppression is really one between apathy and action. It's on all of us to follow in the footsteps of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson and keep hope alive. So let's keep working together to carry on the fight that he and so many others began. Let's build a better Michigan for us and all those who come after us. I want to thank you and tell you all how much I love you. Big Gretch out.
We're pleased to welcome the newest senator from the state of Michigan. I'm sure you are familiar with her because she's come under attack for simply telling the people to follow the law. She is not shy when it comes to articulating what the Constitution says, not what somebody thinks and what opinion says. She's been doing a job to represent the folk at all levels, and we're very proud and pleased to welcome, for the first occasion, to speak and to bring greetings to all of us here in the city of Detroit, the Honorable Senator Alyssa Slotkin. Let's welcome her.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you, Reverend Anthony. Thank you, Gary Torgo, the amazing team at the NAACP. Very proud to be speaking at my first official speaking portion of this event. Thank you for Gary clapping for me over there. One guy. I wanted to take a moment in my 2 minutes to just talk about something that had a profound impact on me in the past year. It was, yes, the threats coming from the president and from others, but it was actually getting a sneak peek of something that is opening at our Henry Ford Museum in June. The Jackson family home from Selma, Alabama, was moved from Selma up to our museum here, and it's going to open up, and it is the story of people that we had never heard of, who provided safe haven for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. whenever he was in Selma. And it was a moving experience to hear and the way that they risked their life, the way that they risked their families' lives with the FBI wiretapping their phones and the KKK down the street. And it was a reminder that for every big leader in the civil rights movement, there were thousands of people who risked their lives, who risked their homes, who risked their opportunities to support that movement. And as our governor just said, the fight right now, the fight heading into the next 6 months is whether we will have free and fair elections, and we need the NAACP in that fight. We need the city of Detroit in that fight. They have come for our voting rolls. They have come for our state. And if we don't fight for those democratic elections, they will not be here. So I'm asking everyone today, the call to action, because there's no better room to do it in, is to please see yourself in that fight. Demand accountability. Your leaders here in the state are standing up for you, but we will need your help in the fall to show people that you can do all kinds of things, but not in the city of Detroit, not in the state of Michigan, not on our watch, and not while the NAACP is working here. So thank you, appreciate you, keep up the fight.
Senator Gary Peters, we appreciate you. If you'll hold for just 1 second. Certain things are happening beyond our control relative to scheduling. We're very pleased to have now the former Assistant or Attorney General for the Department of Civil Rights under the Biden administration, the Honorable Kristen Clark, who is here. We wanted to present her an award while she was still in Washington with the Biden administration, but that did not work out. So tonight, we're very pleased to have her to come as we have now the presentation of a special award to the new General Counsel of the NAACP nationally, the former Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights for the whole country, is now the General Counsel for the NAACP nationally. Let's welcome Kristen Clark, and I'm going to ask Camille Landon if she would come and present the award. All these fine women up here, I get confused. We're going to have former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District, Don Isom. Give Don Isom a hand. She's going to present this award. Come on, Don.
Good evening, Detroit. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce this year's recipient of the Mary Church Terrell Freedom and Justice Award. Mary Church Terrell was a civil rights activist, journalist, teacher, suffragist, and a charter member of the NAACP. She is known as pioneering civil rights activist who championed racial and gender equality throughout her life. It's an echo, y'all, so it's like throwing me off just a little bit here. But this year's recipient of the award in her name has also devoted her life and her career to civil rights activism. Kristen Clark previously served as the 19th Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice between 2021 and 2025. In this role, she led enforcement of federal civil rights laws across the country. But her commitment to standing up for equitable treatment, fairness, and justice for all began long before then. Her dedication to her Jamaican parents' teachings, remain disciplined, work hard in school, and make the most of every opportunity led her to Harvard University and later Columbia Law School. After that, she committed her entire career to civil rights. After graduating from law school, she worked as a trial attorney in DOJ's division, where she worked on voting rights, hate crimes, and human trafficking. She later joined the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, where she focused on voting rights. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Kristen Clark.
Good evening. I want to thank Dawn Eisen for the warm introduction, Reverend Anthony, Executive Director Landrum, for your leadership and your tireless dedication to this work. And thanks to the NAACP Detroit chapter for your clear-eyed leadership at this important time. You all are a powerful voice for justice. I'm so proud to stand before you tonight as your new General Counsel for the National NAACP and begin my journey in the footsteps of Thurgood Marshall and Constance Baker Motley. It's humbling to receive this award named for one of the founders of the NAACP and a true champion for civil rights, Mary Church Terrell. Now, the events of the last 16 months make clear that more is demanded of all of us in this moment. ICE raids on cities with large Black populations, the resulting assaults and even deaths, attacks on Black elected officials and Black journalists, the erasure of our stories, the removal of exhibits and banning of books, the Southern Poverty Law Center under federal indictment, this Justice Department's indefensible abandonment of its civil rights mission, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 under assault in the courts. But despite the chaos, we should all be encouraged. I'm encouraged because I look around this room tonight and I'm reminded that there are more of us than them. There are more of us who believe in truth and justice and righteousness. And in community together, we can make our democracy stronger and more enduring for the future. I want to leave you with a couple of quick action steps. First, I want you to be on the affirmative, not always defensive. Let's use this moment to reimagine what democracy should look like. Let's make sure that we all get out and vote. Vote up and down the ballot. Vote in every special election. Make sure that our voices are heard. And finally, I want to encourage you to think about the new federal civil rights laws that we need in this moment to deal with the new challenges that we face when it comes to AI and the overconcentration of wealth. Thank you so much for this award. I am honored to be here in community with you tonight and look forward to fighting with all of you in the road ahead.
Moving right along, and I'm going to ask all the speakers coming following that presentation to hear me. I need you to cut your remarks short. I know you planned all this, but we have folk who unfortunately have some schedules that are conflicting. So work with me. It ain't a part of the heart, it's a part of the head. I love everybody, but I don't want to pull nobody from the podium, so work with me. Amen. We are pleased to present to the senior senator from Michigan, the Honorable Gary Peters, who has been a fighter for all of these years he's been working for us. He has been rated the most effective U.S. senator for the past 3 consecutive Congresses by the Center for Effective Lawmaking, the first senator in more than 4 decades to do so. He was also the proud author of 19 bills signed into laws during the 117th Congress, more than any senator in a single Congress, in over 40 years, according to the Senate Historical Office. He worked with the NAACP to pass the Strong Communities Act in the Senate. He has championed efforts to protect voting rights and combat discriminatory practices that undermine democratic participation, including helping to lead the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. This is his last time serving as senator for Michigan. It's his last Fight for Freedom Fund dinner as our senior senator chronologically. So let's give a welcome and a thanks to Senator Gary Peters.
Well, thank you, Reverend Anthony. And Reverend Anthony, just thank you for your inspiring leadership over so many years here. I'd also like to thank House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries for being here tonight. It's great to have you here in the city. You know, it's absolutely wonderful to be here at the 71st Annual Freedom Fund Dinner. But I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to the Detroit NAACP and each and every one of you in the audience today for your tireless advocacy and your activism. We have gathered here tonight because we know our democracy and basic rights are under threat. And fighting against injustice and inequality has never been more important. We know that every day there are people in our country who are actively working to make it harder for Americans to access quality health care, housing, and education. Every day there are people who are working to tear down decades of progress on economic and environmental justice. And every day there are people who are working to undermine the trust in our elections and restrict Americans' constitutional right to vote. But, and I'm going to say this, that we know how to stop them. We know that progress is not accidental, it is intentional. It's choosing to do what's right over what's easy every single day. And that's why tonight's theme is so fitting. The choice is ours, and together we will stand strong in this moment. We will defend our fundamental freedoms, and we will demand that our government does the same. And together, if Michigan does its job, we will be introducing Speaker Hakeem Jeffries after the election. And if we do our job, we are going to make sure the seat that I am honored to hold stays blue and we get a majority in the United States Senate. Thank you for being in this fight.
Senator, we have this award for you, an award of exemplary service. And there's a quote on it which says, "You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Congratulations, and we thank you for your service to Michigan and the country.
Thank you, sir. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
As I indicated, we are making some adjustments. We're getting ready to hear from our keynote speaker. But I need y'all to work with me so you can hear this historic remarks and these words. Thank you. The preamble to the U.S. Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America, written and adopted September 17, 1787, 239 years ago. It has not changed, it has not been modified, and it still stands as the foundation for the Constitution, which is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Yet on the eve of the celebration of freedom and democracy after 250 years, we need persons to stand in the gap between autocracy and democracy, between a forward movement or a backward journey. Our speaker has demonstrated that he is willing to keep the nation moving forward. Both of his names, Hakeem and Sekou, are reflective of who he is. Hakeem, North Africa, Nigeria, Asia, and also Sekou, West Africa, Mandinka, Fula, Guinea, Mali, Senegal, meaning wisdom, learned person, scholarly. This congressman from the 8th District of New York is now serving his 7th term. He is the highest ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives, the former chair of the Democratic Caucus, the whip of the Congressional Black Caucus, and co-chair of the Policy and Communications Committee, where he devoted the For the People agenda to address COVID relief that meets the need of the scale of the problem affecting blacks and indigenous folk, people of color, dismantling racism and white supremacy in all institutions, and ending endless wars, invest in diplomacy and peace, calling for health care for everybody, putting people back to work. And please don't trip, because I said democratic. For the NAACP is nonpartisan, but we are not non-political. Politics is the process of making collective decisions, managing power, distributing resources within groups, organizations, and society. So if you are a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or you don't know what you are, if you distribute right, if your policies are right, then that makes you all right. Our speaker don't just read the Bible for public display. He goes to the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Brooklyn on Sunday. He grew up in church, Sunshine Band, Missionary Society, and the Usher Board. Today he is still ushering in opportunity, working to reform the criminal justice system with the First Step Act, protecting the rule of law and media freedoms, not only here but in Haiti, fighting corruption in high places, suffocating the life of the lower spaces. You see, he is concerned that we're not just thriving, but we're thriving, not just surviving. He stands against government corruption because he knows it's a terrible disruption of the American dream. Beloved, he understands that our speaker, it's clear, the SAVE Act don't save us. It stops us from exercising our right to vote and our right to act for the cause of freedom. He understands that America has not elected a king because we are concerned about letting freedom ring. He is, in fact, the leader for such a time as this, like Shirley Chisholm, who said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Like John Lewis, he believes in getting in good trouble. Like Fannie Lou Hamer, he is sick and tired of being sick and tired. like those who came before us. Time to make it real, the promises of democracy. And like the brothers and sisters in the street, don't just talk about it, be about it. And if America does the right thing in November, we could be welcoming the first African-American Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, freedom fighters, let us welcome the Honorable Leader, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Good evening, Detroit. What up, though? What an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you during this Freedom Fund dinner. Thank you, Dr. Wendell Anthony, for those very generous words of introduction. After Dr. Anthony finished introducing me, I thought he was going to open wide the doors of the church. But thank you for your leadership, for all that you do for the cause of liberty and justice and civil rights. Certainly to Derek and to Leon, to the NAACP leadership, to all of my colleagues in government who are here, the governor, of course, the mayor, and the various state and local elected officials, my colleagues in the Michigan congressional delegation. I saw Debbie Dingell was here, and Haley Stevens, Rashida, Hillary, and of course, Sri. And to each and every one of you, let me first thank the men and women of law enforcement who helped keep everyone safe at the White House Correspondents' Dinner yesterday. And I want to thank the men and women of law enforcement who are helping to keep all of us safe at the Detroit NAACP dinner here today. Political violence is never the answer. Here in America, we should be able to agree to disagree without ever being disagreeable with each other. At the same time, I can assure you that we will continue to speak truth to power at all times as we navigate our way through the trials, the turbulence, and the tribulations of this moment. I want to congratulate all of the honorees, including Ruby Bridges, who at 6 years old showed such tremendous courage to integrate the public school system down in Louisiana. Is that type of courage that all of us need to summon right now. Now, as Dr. Anthony knows, I'm not a preacher, I'm a public servant. But as he indicated, I also grew up in the Cornerstone Baptist Church. So I'm not allergic to the word amen. In fact, let me let you in on a little secret. Throughout my remarks, the more amens that I hear, the faster I'll be. Heard a lot of amens already. I want to speak for just a few moments under the theme, a setback is nothing more than a setup for a comeback. A setback is nothing more than a setup for a comeback. In 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, that's 2 Corinthians, not 2 Corinthians. Mr. President, if you're going to sell the Bible, you should know the Bible. In 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, 8th verse, the Apostle Paul writes, "We are troubled on every side, but not distressed, perplexed, but never in despair. It certainly is the case that we've got trouble all around us. An administration that promised that they would lower costs on day one, but costs haven't gone down. Here in the United States of America, costs have gone up. Life has become more expensive since January of 2025. We have an administration that promised that they weren't going to start wars in the Middle East, they were going to stop them, and then turned around and plunged us into a reckless war of choice in the Middle East. More than a dozen service members who have lost their lives, hundreds injured, billions of your taxpayer dollars being wasted. We have a president and an administration who promised that they were going to love and cherish Medicaid, and then turned around and embraced the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripping health care away from more than 14 million Americans. Trouble all around us. But we're not distressed because we serve a good God. And he's given us the tools to make a way out of no way. That's what the NAACP's journey has been all about. And one of the ways in which we're able to do that as a community, as a people, is through the power of imagination. You know, when I first became House Democratic leader back in January of 2023, a few days after officially obtaining the title, I went back home to Brooklyn and I ran into a constituent on Fulton Street. And he called me over and said to me, "Congressman, aren't you the guy who a few years ago on the floor of the United States Senate during the impeachment trial quoted the notorious B.I.G.?" I said, "Yes, sir, that was me." And then he said, "And now, as I'm to understand it, you're the House Democratic leader, the highest ranking Democrat in the United States Congress." I said, "God is good." And then without missing a beat, he looked at me and said, "How the hell did that happen?" I had to think quickly, and then it came to me. I just looked at him and I responded, "Well, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far." That's the power of imagination. You see, one of our superpowers is that through it all, our community has always had the ability to imagine a better future here in America and then work hard to bring it about. The power of imagination. Frederick Douglass had imagination. Harriet Tubman had imagination. Sojourner Truth had imagination. Rosa Parks had imagination. Dr. King had imagination. John Lewis had imagination. Fannie Lou Hamer had imagination. Shirley Chisholm had imagination. Roy Wilkins had imagination. Ruby Bridges had imagination. It's the power of imagination. Imagine a better future and then work hard to bring it about. That's what the NAACP journey has been all about through all of the trials and turbulence and tribulation. And if you think about it, where we've been to where we need to go, we had to fight for our emancipation and then battle through Jim Crow segregation, and then deal with the consequences and adversity of mass incarceration. Thrown everything they have at us, but we're still here. Imagine a better future and then work hard to bring it about. It's that power of imagination, of course, that has allowed us to go from the outhouse to the White House. Thank you, President Barack Obama, for 8 years of brilliance, style, and substance. No corruption, no convictions, no indictments, no scandals, just 8 years of brilliance, style, resilience, and substance. It's that power of imagination that has allowed us to go from the outhouse to the people's house. Thank you, Congressional Black Caucus, which started more than 50 years ago. 12 men, including John Conyers from right here in Motown, and 1 woman, Shirley Chisholm. And now, the Congressional Black Caucus from that beginning has more than 60 members strong, a majority of whom are black women, more black women serving in the United States Congress than at any other point in time in American history. Power of imagination that allows us to go from the outhouse all the way to the courthouse. Thank you, Thurgood Marshall. And thank you, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Y'all know I can't mention that other one. But thank you, Ketanji Brown Jackson, for your brilliance and for your boldness. And so together, through all of what we have to deal with, the extremism that's being jammed down the throats of the American people, it certainly is the case that we too should be able to imagine a better future and then work hard to bring it about. Together, let's fight racism. Together, let's fight anti-Semitism. Together, let's fight sexism. Together, let's fight xenophobia. Together, let's fight homophobia. Together, let's fight Islamophobia. Together, let's fight anti-Asian hate. Together, let's crush bigotry whenever and wherever it is found and make this country the best version of herself. Now, the NAACP has always believed that in this country, our diversity is a strength. It is not a weakness. We are a gorgeous mosaic of people who have come to this country from all over the world, some voluntary and others involuntary. But as John Lewis would often say to us, we may have come over on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. We are white, we are black, we are Latino, we are Asian, we are Native American. We are Christian, we are Jewish, we are Muslim, we are Hindu, we are religious, we are secular, we are gay, we are straight, we are young, we are older, we are women, we are men, we are citizens, we are dreamers. Out of many, we are one. That's what makes America a great country. And no matter what kind of xenophobic behavior is coming from the other side of the aisle, we're not going to let anyone take that away from us. Not now, not ever. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so we stand at a crossroads. We want to move the country forward. They want to turn back the clock. We're fighting hard to bring people together. The other side, they're doing everything they can to tear us apart. We believe in truth and reconciliation. Many folks on the other side believe that their shamelessness is a superpower. But we're not here to step back. We're here to push back at all times and ensure that this country will have a free and fair election in November. And after that happens, when the gavels change hands, one of the first things that we will do is ensure that we pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act so we can end the era of voter suppression in the United States of America once and for all. And so, as I prepare to close, let me say that with all the challenges we've got in this country, we as House Democrats, we do believe that when you work hard in America, when you play by the rules, you should be able to live a comfortable life, an affordable life, and live the good life. Not too much to ask for in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Work hard, play by the rules, and live the good life. Good paying job, good housing, good health care, good education for your children. And when it's all said and done, a good retirement, which means we got to make sure that these extremists keep their hands off your Social Security and your Medicare at all times. Work hard. Play by the rules. And live the good life. Now, it was definitively the case that 2024 was a setback for so many people all across the country. But I'm reminded of the story of a young man who went to college the late 1940s, early 1950s, graduated from a historically black college in the South, came from a prominent family. His father was a big-time Baptist preacher. And after he graduated from college, he decided to go pursue a doctorate of theology at a major university in the Northeast. And upon completing his theology studies, it was expected that he would be able to secure a pastorship at a major church somewhere in the South. And it just so happens that there was an opening at the First Baptist Church of Chattanooga in Tennessee. And so this young man went down to the church and he delivered his trial sermon. And by all accounts, it went well. A few weeks after that, he got a call from a member of the pastoral search committee who said that, well, you gave a great sermon. We think you're going to make a fine preacher, but just not at our church. And this young man was disappointed, devastated, and disillusioned, unsure about what would come next. He had also happened to apply for a pastorship at a small little church in Montgomery, Alabama. And the church called him up and they offered him the chance to serve as the lead pastor. Now, his father didn't necessarily want this young man to accept the position because the church had a reputation for chewing up young pastors and tossing them aside. His wife was a little concerned about this young man accepting the pastorship there because she didn't necessarily want to raise her young family with her young children in the heart of the Jim Crow South. But this young man, his name is Martin Luther King Jr., decided to trust God. And he accepted the pastorship at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Now watch this. had Martin Luther King Jr. been given the pastorship at the First Baptist Church of Chattanooga, then he never would have accepted the pastorship at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Had he never accepted the pastorship at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, then he never would have been in Montgomery, Alabama. Had he never been in Montgomery, Alabama, he never would have been there when Rosa Parks sat down so that everybody else could stand up. Had he never been there when Rosa Parks sat down, then he never would have led the Montgomery bus boycott. Had he never led the Montgomery bus boycott, then he never would have emerged as a national civil rights leader. Had he never emerged as a national civil rights leader, he never would have been invited to speak at the March on Washington. Had he never been invited to speak at the March on Washington, then he could have never convinced the president to sign the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Had he never convinced the president to sign the 1964 Civil Rights Act, we would have never got to the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and God knows where we would be right now. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and sometimes when one door closes, it simply means that another door is about to open, and that's the door that we're supposed to walk through. A setback is nothing more than a setup for a comeback. And 2024 was definitively a setback. But are y'all ready for the great American comeback in 2026? And so we've just got to get to work, to show up and stand up and speak up for what we know is right, to display the same courage and character and conviction that those civil rights heroes and foot soldiers, that the founders of the NAACP and those who have charted this course here in Detroit have shown. My parting word to you here at Detroit, the NAACP Freedom Fund Dinner, is that we've got to simply press on. Press on. Press on. We got to press on for our children, press on for our seniors, press on for our unions, press on for our veterans, press on for our dreamers, press on for working families, press on for middle-class folks, press on for the poor, press on for the sick, press on for the afflicted, press on for the least, press on for the lost, press on for the left behind, press on for civil rights, press on for voting rights, press on for racial justice, press on for social justice, press on for economic justice, press on for freedom, press on for democracy. We've got to press on until victory is won. God bless you. God bless the Detroit NAACP, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Let's give him another hand. Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. We're just about on time. We have a special tribute now. So young people, get ready. Don't deny our children. They have a special presentation. If they can come now, we have a special presentation in memory of the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson for a few moments. And these young people have worked on this because they believe that they are somebody. So let us be patient and turn your attention to the center stage. Turn your attention to the center stage and also the monitors. Let's give our young people a hand. They're from schools all around the city. Give our children a hand, our young people. This is our future. Whenever you